Hello and welcome.
Holy smoke.
I'm Jazz, bro.
Man, that energy.
I'm ready.
Wow, I was not ready for that.
I know.
Caught me off guard. I got like the goose pimples.
Dude, I was actually practicing in the shower.
Really?
Yeah, my
Nice.
wife told me to shut up, but
Yeah,
anyways.
it makes sense. Probably tells you all the time.
Yeah.
But anyway, welcome to another fantastic episode
Ooh,
of the Fake Football Guy Show.
that's right.
My name's John Carlo, and my co-host alongside me, as always, Dustin DL Lingaman.
I'm here for you.
In the production studio, the one and only, the executive producer, the man running the boards, does it all, the Sultan of Sound. You like that one?
Ooh, Sultan.
Sound.
Almost like Sultan of SWAT.
Yeah, Sultan of Sound, Andrew Valentine. What's up, Andrew?
I like Emperor of Everything.
Ooh, Emperor
because I
of
do just about
Ooh.
everything.
Emperor.
Like and subscribe if you think I should get a raise. I
Hey, it's fair. That's fair.
yeah.
Hey,
But
if
no,
we-
I was not. I gotta say, Dustin, I was not prepared for that.
Oh.
That was something special. I'm glad we shared that moment.
Yeah.
Well,
Really am.
you know, I got a couple tricks up my sleeve, guys. Keep
The
you
Emperor
posted.
of Everything. I liked it. The Nostradamus of Noise.
Ooh.
You know, I got these all
Hey.
day. I got these all
Okay.
day. But anyway, as a reminder, everybody, you can follow the show on Twitter. Where?
At Tweet FFG.
And then if you have any questions, start sick questions, waiver wire questions throughout the week, you can ask us those by using the hashtag.
Ask us FFG.
I know we've been pretty good on Twitter. You over here have been killing it.
Dude,
Killing
you know, it's what I do. I kill.
I love it. I love it. I see all the posts. It's great. It's great. But anyway, if Twitter's not your speed and you want to send over some emails, you can send those emails over to us by sending them to askusffg@gmail.com. Or if you're not so email inclined, you can always send us a voicemail.
Ooh.
Where can you drop that voicemail at?
That's area code 708-655-4508.
We do love those voicemails.
We do.
We do have one
I love
this
them.
week. We're excited
What?
for it. Yeah,
Yes.
we're excited for it. One of our regulars actually called, I think. So can't wait to hear what he's got in mind.
Okay.
Yeah, but as always, everybody, remember to like, share, and subscribe. And DL, what should they do?
Mash that notification button.
Yeah, you always want to be notified when we go out live. Sometimes it's different times. We tell you it's at 9 a.m. and we end up going at 12:30. You never know. But if you have the notification button on, you'll be alerted to it. So just letting you know. You can also smash that notification button on Twitter. That way you know when we tweet. In case there's a quick, update on an injury, maybe a COVID-related thing.
Speaking of which,
go.
the Browns are now enhanced the VID
Yeah, the
protocols,
COVID protocol, yep.
placing guard Drew Forbes and Austin Hooper, wide receiver Jarvis Landry, and Baker. Looks like Baker's
Baker
gonna be on.
Mayfield's in it too?
Yeah.
Oh, what a
If I'm reading that
mess.
right. Hold on. I sometimes,
All right, well, you get that
Okay.
situated.
All right.
Everyone, we have a jam-packed show for you today. We're super excited. It's the fantasy playoffs, baby. All the hard work that you've put in all year has now come down to this. Hopefully you have a bye, but if you don't, like a few of us here, it's time to show out.
Update though, Baker Mayfield is not
Okay.
on the list.
Okay, but
go
Jarvis
ahead.
is.
Sorry, Jarvis. Yes, that's a huge blow.
Huge blow. So
Huge.
quickly, the benefactor there is probably a guy that we've named before in the past. Donovan Peoples-Jones is probably going to be a hot
Yup,
pickup. So
yup,
even though he might
yup.
not be in the show, might not be in our show notes, Donovan Peoples-Jones, go out there and grab him. If you have a fat budget and let's say you only have $20 left, I would spend a good $8 on him. That's how I feel about him.
And
Could help you win this week,
They're
honestly.
actually going up against the Las Vegas Raiders.
Ooh, okay.
So that might be a good matchup for
Great
Peoples.
matchup. Who looked
Peoples.
really bad by the Raiders. I expect them to come back on some kind of a revenge game with the way they looked. It was bad.
Yeah, the Raiders suck.
It was
They
real
suck bad.
It's going to be a heavy run game for them. Though,
Oh, yeah.
For the Browns, honestly. If you think about it, that's crazy, man.
And if you have Chubb, you're going to be in the hot seat for sure.
Yep.
Okay.
Anyway, DL,
Yes.
Andrew, how'd your guys' week go? Did you guys make the playoffs? What's going on?
I did make the playoffs.
You did? Nice.
I made it in all of my leagues.
Nice.
It's awesome. One of the games I actually won, but I kind of wish I would have lost because now the seating got all messed up,
Yep.
and I have to play this loser in the final round. But other than that, yeah, man, I just want to send a big thank you to Jonathan Taylor. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm glad I drafted you.
Nice.
That's it. Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, that's it.
All right,
man.
cool. So, what, 2 leagues, 3 leagues? You made it in all of them?
Yeah, all
right.
three.
Fantastic. That's awesome.
And a
Congrats to
deeper
you.
league, dude. Deeper league, which I was probably in 10th place.
Mhm.
Made it all the way up to 5th.
Ooh,
So,
what a climb.
It was hard.
I wonder how much impact the show had on that.
I think a lot, dude. Like, really, I was like ahead of the curve. I was grabbing people that nobody knew about, like
OBJ.
Let's see, KJ Osborne.
Nice.
Yeah, that was
maybe
a good one.
Rashad Penny. I don't know.
We'll
maybe
see.
Taylor Heineke. We'll see. We'll
see.
see. But anyway, Andrew, did you make the playoffs? Playoffs?
Did I make the playoffs? In fact, I actually did.
Yeah.
Woo-hoo, yeah.
In my league with my friends, I got smoked. I went 2-10 or whatever it is. I got destroyed.
Yep.
But also, I stopped caring about that league.
That's
and
fair.
also, I gave my fantasy league over to a GM.
Okay.
So I just became the owner essentially. And my good friend JoJo, shout out to her.
Okay.
She was able to stretch me 5 straight wins.
Wow.
And I beat our good friend Drew Gwillem. I beat him by 20 points.
Nice.
Despite the fact that I had James Robinson, who gave me 0.2 points.
Oof.
But George Kittle.
I was gonna say, I
Yeah.
was
He came
waiting,
up.
dude.
Devontae Adams came up big.
Yep.
Still somehow, after what I thought was a bad game, Kyler Murray came through for me.
Yep.
And put up some points. And I ended up going 8-6 and making the playoffs
Nice.
for our winners bracket.
What?
Congratulations.
So I'm shocked as shit. Thank you again to my friend JoJo.
Mm-hmm.
You're running my fantasy team from here on in. I only want to be owner. That's it.
There you go. That's fantastic. Well, glad to hear it. Glad to hear it.
Hey, I'm glad there's people actually watching this live right now. Did you know
nice.
this? Did you know
No,
this?
fantastic.
So one of them said I blew out your headphones. Sorry, bro. My bad.
That's what we're going for.
I get excited. However,
like blowing things up.
we did actually get a question, and I just
Yeah.
want to make sure we address this because
Sure.
I'm sure there's going to be a lot more people just jumping
Sure.
in our show. Okay, says Julio Reyes.
Yeah.
Hope I'm saying your name right.
Good old buddy Julio Reyes. That's my buddy.
He said in the playoffs,
Yeah.
and he's in the playoffs, he's in a pickle of sort. With starting Ertz, should he start Ertz or Schultz based on the QB matchup? Who do I go with?
That's a tough matchup. While you do the research on who the Cowboys play, Ertz hasn't been looking too hot. And Dalton honestly had a really bad week. I'm pretty sure he went for less than 5 points. That's kind of a toss-up, to be quite honest with you. I'm thinking, honestly, I would probably go with Dalton Schultz. I'm leaning Dalton Schultz.
Why is that?
I just feel like,
Because you have him?
well, I have Ertz too in a league too.
Oh,
so
okay.
Remember, I have 10 freaking teams, so I have a little bit of everything everywhere. But I'm leaning Dalton Schultz. I just feel like that offense is just clicking a little bit better. Honestly, I don't like the way Kyler looked just this past week.
Yeah. You know
A little
what?
worried.
Okay, so update. The Dallas Cowboys are actually playing those New York Giants.
Okay.
So that's a good call. I'm going to go back to, Kyler Murray, man. Honestly, I saw a graphic when I was watching last night that they're like, they're horrible at home. I think they've
Okay.
only won like 3 games at home.
Okay.
And they've won 7.
What's
Won
crazy?
7, 0 defeats on the
Cardinals
road.
play the Lions, dude. It's such a hard decision
Ooh.
between those two. Where are you leaning? I just feel like if you blow out the Lions, you're not going to throw that much, right?
Yeah, and I'm thinking that is a tough one,
Right?
Like Ertz, I'm excited for because I have him,
Yeah.
and that offense is great, but they're not really utilizing him that much. It's usually like Hopkins or like a deep throw, or they're just firing up the running game. So
And you've said it before.
Yeah.
The Giants aren't as bad as
No.
people think. They have
their offense sucks.
Yeah, the offense is kind of
Yeah.
not doing it, and I don't know how they're going to be a quarterback. I think Daniel Jones is still out, so
Yeah.
So I don't know. I could just see the Cowboys game being a little more competitive, and I could just see Dak throwing to the tight end just a smidge more. It's kind of a toss-up. I'm leaning Dalton Schultz. You're leaning.
I'm gonna go Schultz too.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be with you on this because, like I said, like Ertz is such like a 50-50 shot.
Yeah.
And you're right. If they get ahead, they're gonna be running the shit out of the ball.
Yeah,
they're not
agreed.
gonna go for it. We did get another question.
Yeah, sure.
Another question.
Love 'em. Keep 'em
all right.
coming.
So Carr versus Cleveland defense.
Okay.
Or Burrow versus Denver.
Oof.
I'm gonna go Burrow.
Yeah, I'm going Burrow.
I'm going Burrow.
I'm going Burrow. I agree with you. Another week trying to come back from that injury. That pinky is still messed up.
yeah.
I
But
should
I
have
mean,
started him. I really should have.
Yeah.
I would have done a lot better. I would have crushed Drew at that point.
Yeah.
He played good. He
He
played
did.
good against a really good defense.
He did.
I think he's trying to prove something, man. I think he's trying to set the tone that he's elite quarterback, which he's playing like one. And yeah, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but Cincinnati's still in the hunt for the playoffs, right?
Correct.
So he's got even more to play for. With Carr, like, I don't know, Hunter Renfrow.
He looked so bad last week. And I don't know if you
the
saw
week before,
yeah,
too.
Josh Jacobs came out this week and said that they start off too slow. And he was pretty upset about it. And he was pretty much saying that he went to his offensive line and said, what are we doing? You guys aren't blocking up the schemes that we're trying to run. So he kind of crapped on his team. But he's got the kind of voice and the kind of leadership to do it. So, oh, man, it's a tough – another great question.
Yeah, these are awesome.
Yeah, keep
I love
them coming.
this.
Great question. I think I'm leaning Burrow. I'm a Burrow guy.
I'm going to go Burrow.
I'm leaning Burrow.
Yeah, I would say Derek Burrow too.
Okay.
Joe Burrow.
Joe Burrow.
You guys are doing it to me now too.
Hey, it's okay.
Derek Carr. Listen. It's Hunter Renfrow, and if Darren Waller comes back, right. Other than that, they have Edwards has completely disappeared. They don't really have any weapons.
Yep.
And their run game is kind of nonchalant. There's nothing really there. Josh Jacobs is good, but he needs the Cowboys offensive line for that to work.
Correct.
He's been injured all year.
Offensive line.
He's been injured all year too. He's always a shaky He's just a flex.
And let me give you something out of left field. A
one.
guy that I hate on, and you guys know this, a guy that I probably would start over both Burrow and Carr, Tua. If Tua is available, he takes on the Jets.
I hate saying it too, but I might have to agree with that.
He takes on the Jets this week.
Dude, I've been screaming Tua for the last few weeks, man.
I would never recommend him with confidence, but
he's a great streamer.
This week, I'm with you.
Did you look at the rest of his lineup?
No, he's got a good schedule.
Yeah. So real quick, we'll take a look at Tua because I was looking at this earlier because we were JC was crapping on Tua.
Yeah, I crap on Tua all the time. I don't think he's that talented.
I mean, it's not about talent. Well, I guess it is.
Well, listen,
about
we during training camp, Miami came to Chicago. They kind of met and they did a little bit of training camp together. And the Miami beat writers, it was one specifically. I'm not going to say his name, but he crapped all over Justin Fields and said that Tua's way better than Fields.
Oh, I remember
this
that.
And that.
Yes.
And I was so pissed off. I was like, "Are you kidding me? Based on what? What are you seeing? The guy can't throw further than 15 yards accurately. What's the thing? It's." But anyway.
So the next, for at least playoff purposes, he goes against the Jets this week.
Okay.
He goes against NOLA next week, which,
Okay.
And then it gets kind of a little murky because it's Tennessee, then New England. So
well, good for this week though. I would say
for this
solid
week for
stream
sure.
Solid stream this week. And the guy who asked the question is my brother actually, and he plays me.
Oh.
Speaking of playing me, so in my 10 leagues, I made it an 8 of the 10. So I'm 80% in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
I only won one league, first place in one league. It was yours.
Yeah, but you barely won that last game. See, JC likes to come up yeah, man, I've been smoking people left and right. This fool won. Here's the score. So 143.02 to the losing team. JC came in at 143.84.
So I won by 0.81.
But literally, if they had a little bit more time and Murray would have thrown to Hopkins, because that's who JC was going against, I don't think he would have pulled it off.
No, I think I won by 83 points.
That's what I won by.
Okay. Yeah. But so again, I made it in 8 out of 10 leagues in the playoffs. I'm pretty excited.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I got a chance at $10,000 if I win a few of these leagues. So.
Yeah.
I
was our league. I was like, I don't know.
No. There's a few leagues that are pretty big money. Pretty excited to where we're at.
So basically, you're gonna buy us all lunch.
Yeah, easily. If I do win
and some beer
over, a certain amount, yeah, for sure.
Okay.
No doubt.
I'm down.
No doubt. Yeah, I'll cover that. All right. Jumping on to the real stuff.
Okay.
We love the questions you guys are sending in. Keep sending them in. We love them.
Yes.
We do love them. We got one more before we jump into the actual show.
Okay.
It comes from the Viet Bong. The Viet Bong. I like it. Devonta Parker versus the Jets or Julio Jones versus the Pittsburgh Steelers? Oof.
Parker.
Okay.
I don't trust Julio. I don't think he's going to do anything. Like I said last week,
he didn't do much last
got a shot. Yeah, exactly. He hasn't done much all year. I don't think, especially right now in the playoffs, you don't want to be hoping and dreaming Julio Jones has that big game and you're a genius. If you're kind of in the consideration playoff, you ever see that? I think it's always funny.
Consolation bracket, whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah. I like.
Then quick, maybe throw him in there.
And a real quick thing. If you have a consolation bracket, you better not let those people playing in it make any adds or drops, okay?
Yeah.
Because if you do, the integrity of your league is out the window.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The only people that should be adding and dropping players are teams that are in the running of the playoffs.
That's right.
That's all I gotta
or
say.
you're going to have that one guy that just drops his whole team.
Yep.
And leaves all these big, awesome guys, which that's pretty bogus too.
Yep.
I think that's bogus.
So to answer the Viet Bong, I like where you came from because you answered between one of those two. I'm going to kind of steer off the path for that one. I'd recommend Donovan Peoples-Jones over either of those guys.
Oh.
Yep.
Okay,
I'd recommend
I see that.
Jamison Crowder over either of those guys too. And I know he didn't have a great week last week, but Elijah Moore's out. He's done. Corey Davis is out. He's gone. So who are you going to throw the ball to? eventually Jamison Crowder's going to eat.
Yeah.
That's it. So
especially PPR.
Yep.
Said it last week, saying it again this week.
Last week, KJ Osborne, I'd also recommend. I'm serious.
Yes.
There are other guys out there that I'd recommend between those two guys.
He's in the circle of trust.
He is in the circle of trust.
He's in the circle of trust,
It's a
man.
small circle, but he's
it
there.
is.
All right, anyway, let's go ahead and get started. So we do have a voicemail question that did come in. It's a pretty interesting one.
Okay.
You want to run the tape?
Yes, this is Jackson Crosby from Austin, Texas. This question is from for the fake football guys. Love your show. First time caller, long time listener. Big Cowboys fan here. My question is in regards to Tua Tagovailoa. He's definitely one of the top 15 left-handed quarterbacks of all time, and that's definitely fact right there. My question is, if you were the Cowboys, would you trade for him, knowing that your offensive coordinator, Kellen Moore, is also one of the top 20 left-handed quarterbacks of all time? Maybe he'd be better putting an offense for him. I think it might be a great move. But as far as fantasy football goes, what are your thoughts on starting Tua this week? Thank you.
What a question. Thank you for calling Jackson Crosby, a.k.a. Bobby Boucher.
Bobby Boucher.
Oh, man, what a question. So he had a two-parter. The first question is not really fantasy-related, but we'll answer it.
Yeah.
He asked, should the Dallas Cowboys trade for Tua?
I
don't know where it's coming from with it. I think he's saying that Kellen Moore is also a lefty, just like Tua is. And he said that Kellen Moore's a top 20 lefty of all time at quarterback. And Tua's top 15 already lefty all time.
I like the number angle. I think that's genius.
Oh, man.
And we've been pretty excited about Tua, but no. Hell no. No.
Yeah, but Kellen Moore's gone too. He's going to be hired as a head coach somewhere.
Yeah.
Wouldn't surprise me if he's the head coach of the Bears.
Come on. Dak versus... Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, who is this man, and how can I slap some sense?
Hey, man, I don't know, but keep giving us voicemails.
We love them.
Yeah.
Hey, man, he's left-handed.
He's left-handed.
Come on.
Yeah.
He makes a good point, Andrew. He makes a good point.
What good point? What good point was there?
Yeah, no good point.
Left-handed, that's it?
I mean, you know, you
Come
can
on.
hope. You can hope,
Kellen
right?
Moore as a head coach, I don't even know if that's going to
But
happen.
even
Man,
that,
you're
like,
taking
if
a
you're
gamble.
a Dallas fan, even if you're a Dallas fan, you don't like Dak? Like, I mean, last
They
week
love
wasn't
Dak
the
in Dallas.
greatest.
Well, they
but
love him.
Yeah, like
He took you to the playoffs. How can you be mad?
He just got paid. That trade wouldn't even make sense financially.
Yeah,
Like, it just
no.
doesn't work.
So, sorry, Crosby.
Yeah, sorry. Second question, though, was a really good one, though.
Yeah,
I
it
think
was.
this is really
It
what he
was.
was trying to go for. Same Tua angle. Is Tua a good streaming QB this week against the Jets? And I think we kind of alluded to it just a little bit ago.
Absolutely.
100%. 100%.
For sure.
Think Tua is a fantastic quarterback to go with this week. I got him in my top 10 this week.
What?
Yep, I got him at number 10.
This guy.
And
this
I don't
guy.
think he's all
Mike
that good.
Williams is great, but I'm going to call him a dud.
Hey.
Now all of a sudden, Tua sucks, but
You
he's
go
in my
by-
top 10.
You go matchup to matchup. What do they say? Styles
I've
make
already
fights?
told Dustin, you're done with Mike Williams. You can't use him anymore.
Has he done anything, though?
No, but
All right.
I'm
Find
just
a new
saying,
dud.
Like, you keep using him as your dud and stuff. Like
I didn't use him this week. Find out later who my
Yeah,
dud
exactly.
is this
Thank
week.
God.
Yeah.
I would have vetoed it anyways.
Yeah, I don't know.
Detroit defense.
It's good questions nonetheless. Okay, our next question comes from Playoff Sheen.
Oh, okay.
Playoff Sheen asks, kind of a long-winded one, but thanks for the email, Playoff Sheen. He says, I just made the playoffs.
Okay.
How much faith should I have in my team's projections? My opponent is projected to outscore me by 25 points, and I don't know if I should tinker or stick with what's been working.
So if I'm taking this right off the bat, like the projections isn't the final end all be all. They're exactly what they say.
But 20
projections.
points, though?
I mean,
25
yeah.
points.
Okay, just let me get there. I'm getting there, bro. So yeah, I mean, you do want to kind of like look at them and put that into thoughts when you're setting your roster. However, your roster got you to the playoffs, right? Yep. So if there was like maybe you were like me and you're like, oh, Sony Michel, I'm going to throw him on my flex because he's the only running back, right? Which you did okay, under 10 points for me, but. I'm going back to what I originally had, right? So you got to trust. If your lineup has one of those like boom or bust kind of players, absolutely get them out. I wouldn't even take the chance. You want to stay conservative. You want to get the guys that are consistently scoring for you. That's what I would do and throw it to the win.
Yeah, I would say a lot of it has to depend on what your roster makeup is in your league. In one of my leagues, I have 2 flexes.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so I have 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, and 2 flexes and a tight end. And I can kind of gamble there a little bit more. I'll run my studs, and then I'll have a one rotating window of a spot. And I'll just rotate one flex and just take a gamble on a waiver wire guy. Like we did this past week with Rashad Penny. So I think if you're projected for a low score, and it's like a 25-point difference, and your team hasn't been outscoring its projections lately, that also matters.
Oh,
if
that's
you
a good
haven't been
point.
outscoring your projections lately, but you're still winning, take a gamble, man. It's the playoffs. You got to go big or go home at this point. That's kind of where it's at. And scared money don't make money. So if you don't go in and take that gamble, then you're gonna get what you want.
I honestly think this is a good debate because
Yeah.
like I did just throw it in there and just gambled on Sony Michel
And KJ Osborne.
everyone, yes, KJ. Everyone was like, "No, Beckham, you just like the name, blah blah blah." And Beckham actually turned out to be the better player.
You
So,
outscored KJ Osborne last week?
yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he sure as hell did.
Nice.
So there you go. That's what I'm saying to you is like, and really with KJ Osborne, he would have been kind of a dud if he didn't get that deep TD. Because other than that,
sure.
his game was not there. So that's the whole thing. Like you're in the playoffs, I would go a conservative route, but JC, Mr. Wine and Dine over here, Mr. $10,000 leagues, yeah, go ahead, throw up to caution.
The
and-
league isn't
and cry.
$10,000. There's 10 leagues, and
Oh, you have a possibility.
correct. One of them is to
Okay.
win 5K, another one's to win 3K, and then the rest make up the difference, which is another 3K total.
Yeah.
So if I win a few of them, we'll see what happens.
Okay.
We'll
I
see
guess
what happens.
stay tuned.
Stay tuned. But speaking of staying tuned, stay tuned to some of these guys that had a day. DL, we got a bunch of guys.
Yes,
that
we
had a
did.
day. Let's get it started. One of them was supposedly coming back from a shoulder injury, and he looked like he was better than ever, honestly.
Yep.
Dalvin Cook went bananas, man. He went for a total of 205 rushing yards on 27 attempts and scored 2 total touchdowns.
Yeah, he sure did. It, like literally, like I want to be like everyone else. I was like, I don't know. But I was like, hey, this is my deeper league. I'm like, I'm playing him. I freaking drafted him. I'm playing him if he's good to go. And by the end of that game, I was already up by 50 points. It was nuts. I also had Justin Jefferson. Anyways, long story
beast.
short, man, like, yes, it blows my mind that this guy has this type of injury and just does what he did to Pittsburgh. I mean, I think he's amazing. He did mention, though, he did have that same injury last year, so he kind of knew how to protect it a little bit better, or he knew what to expect, so I think that definitely helped him.
He looked good, man.
But, man, his legs, woo, fresh.
Yeah, he
fresh
looked
legs,
Looked
man.
good. Looked good. The next guy is the guy that we've been recommending. The
Yeah.
next guy that had a day deal.
Rashad Penny.
Ooh, what did he do?
He came up big. He like ran away with it. He went for 137 yards, 16 attempts, and scored 2 TDs, baby. And then that's what you want.
And I was talking him up like week 5, but
You
it
were.
finally came to fruition. So
I
if
do
you held
remember
on to him, good for you. 'Cause he
And
was
if he's
bananas.
out there,
you better snatch him up quick because I think he's taking that job. What do you think?
oh, absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. Alex Collins, like you can fade
He's
him.
been fighting that groin injury all year.
Yeah.
And Pete Carroll did come out and say this week that it's nice to have a home run hitter, and they're going to give him every opportunity to take the job. So
Let's
Shame it
go.
only took him like 6 years or whatever it's been.
I think it's
being
been
a
3.
first round pick.
I think it's
What was
been
it?
3.
2000? When was he drafted? 2008?
I'll tell you
no,
right now.
that's
No,
too,
it was more like
far.
2014, 15.
Oh, okay.
But he was a
16.
first round pick, so he was supposed to be like this giant hit. So I'm glad at least he's making up for it a little bit.
Oh, absolutely.
Still
So
call
it
him
was
a bust.
It was a 2018 draft. So
Okay.
3 years ago. And when he was drafted, that same year in college, he was the 5th overall vote getter in the Heisman. So he was a true running back. He's got that speed. I think he's pretty damn good, and we're finally starting to see it. Finally.
Yeah.
It does take some players a little bit of time to adjust. It usually doesn't take running backs that long. But maybe.
Not 4 years.
No, well, yeah.
It's a lot.
Maybe, though, it's time. Maybe.
Maybe.
I'm hoping.
And who are they playing against?
I don't know.
They are playing against the Rams.
Oh, that's going to be a hard one.
Yeah.
But I'd still recommend him, just not highly.
Yeah.
Not highly.
I
Just
mean-
there's not a lot out there to get. So if you could pick them up.
There's a lot of injury in the
awesome.
vid list and all of
Yep.
that. Like,
Yep.
so running backs, I mean, he might be that emergency back that you need.
Maybe so.
I'll throw out Devonta Foreman.
I
He
like that
looked
one,
good
too.
this week.
Yeah, he did look
I
good.
wish I would have started his ass.
Yeah.
I started him.
Yeah, I
he looked
did.
good. Another guy that had a day
A
for
day.
the freaking Packers. We already know this. He's probably the best receiver in the league. Devontae Adams, although he didn't have that breakaway speed, he looked so good still. Even like at 80%. Even at 80%. Just killed the Bears. He had 10 receptions for 121 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah. Great
Beast.
job, Devontae Adams.
He's a beast.
That's
What
awesome.
else can you say?
No, he's good. He's awesome. Of course, he's awesome. Of course, the Bears didn't live up to their potential. Weird. I wonder why.
Yeah.
Is it up? Can I see it? Fire Nagy. Anyways, moving on.
Anyway.
Anyway.
Another interesting matchup. Melvin Gordon and Javonte Williams. I know we've been talking up Javonte Williams all season, and it's good to see that the backfield can coexist.
Yeah.
The two of them can eat, and it's fantastic. It reminds me of like a baby Cleveland situation where Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb were going off.
You could have either or.
Yeah. Well, I think you could have either or here as well. The big beneficiary of this week was Melvin Gordon. He finished the week with 111 yards and 2 touchdowns. But Javonte had a great week too, and I'd be really happy with it. Javonte went for 73 yards and a touchdown. And honestly, I wouldn't be afraid to start either one of them.
You know, honestly, like I said this in last week's episode when you weren't here, if I would have known that, Javonte Williams was going to be that great, I would have drafted him. And I think moving forward, I'm going to try to get him next year for sure.
I've seen a lot of dynasty lists that have Javonte Williams as the number one, dynasty
sense, dude.
running back under 23 years old.
Because how old is Gordon? He's getting up there.
He's getting up
isn't
there
he?
in age. I think
Gordon's
he's like
30.
29. Yeah.
He's 30.
Third. There you go.
So
And right now it looks like Gordon is marked for questionable, but that's just me looking at Yahoo, so we'll see what actually happens.
And don't forget, too, Javonte Williams had a receiving touchdown, too. So there's a lot of potential there for those two guys.
And Melvin Gordon, he did suffer a thumb. He sprained his thumb last week. So that you might tip your hand a little bit more to Mr. Javonte Williams.
I would start either or. I would have no problem with it.
Yeah,
no
for
problem
sure.
with it. The next guy that went off, DL?
Tyler Lockett. He went bananas, and he caught 5 receptions and finished with 142 yards and a TD. I mean, thank you. This is going to be one of those boomer bust kind of guys, like a Deshaun Jackson, but when he goes off, he goes off. So he had himself a day. It's kind of hard to really tell the future if he's going to be consistent, but hey, if he, I'd throw him in the flex for sure.
Yep. Another guy that went off, DL, one of your favorite players.
Oh, I love it, Mr. Kittle. This is 2 weeks in a row, man.
Yeah.
2 weeks in a row that this guy is just saving my ass from losing.
We should name this segment Bananas, because these guys
Bananas?
bananas. Yeah, think about it. Jesus, 151 yards and a touchdown for George Kittle?
You just want to wear the banana suit again.
I do.
That's what it is.
I do.
You see how he did that?
I do.
All right.
See, I like it.
All right.
I like it. Honestly, there was a lot of guys that kind of went off, and a lot of them were studs. And I'm glad if your stud goes off, you drafted them highly for a reason, and they're finally starting.
It just
to
makes
produce,
the whole weekend better.
It
makes
does,
the
honestly.
whole
It
weekend
does.
better.
Any win makes the whole weekend better. But other guys that went bananas were Alvin Kamara, James Conner, and Cooper Kupp. All those guys showed up big, won a lot of games for you, and hopefully, they went off for you.
Yeah, I would. And I don't really remember seeing Edmonds in last night. Did he play at all? Because usually I was thinking they were going to sprinkle him, but I think they kept him back. Yeah. So you may have another week of a lone back, Mr. James Conner.
Yep. Well, hopefully your studs went off. Hopefully they did. But if they didn't, we do have some playoff matchup tips. Since the playoffs are upon us, they're coming up this week. DL, a few of the matchup tips that we have. Now, I know you briefly went over some of them, like the weather.
Yes, I did.
How it'll affect your quarterback and your kickers.
Yep.
Always double check that. I know that you also talked about streaming certain defenses and looking forward, not thinking about just this week, but also next week. If you can pick up a defense for 2 weeks in advance, do it now. Do it now. One of the big things, and we were kind of talking about it a little bit earlier, but not over tinkering. If your team has been performing and showing out, stay with them.
Especially even if you get a KJ Osborne or if you get Rashad Penny.
Yeah.
If you're desperate, then yes, absolutely throw it in there. You got nothing to lose anyway. But I wouldn't necessarily bench Cooper Kupp for KJ Osborne. Which I don't think anyone would, but I gotta say it to say it.
Yep. So I would say this: if you don't have it already, they don't sponsor us, but they've been great all year. Download the Sleeper app.
Oh my God, it's saved.
It's been so good.
Woo, it has helped me out all this year. I think that's why I made the playoffs too. Honestly,
it might be, but download the Sleeper app. It's got a little football guy with the helmet on and little freaking antennas. It's an awesome app. It alerts you to, the most up to date, injuries, people who are out with the COVID, It's a fantastic app, and it's helped us a ton this year.
Yeah, it's like real time news breaking, and it's great because you can get ahead of it. Maybe there was somebody you were thinking of picking up in the waiver wire, but then all of a sudden he got like a DUI. So you're going to know ahead of that, and you're not going to waste your fab money or your actual waiver wire pick.
Yeah, so honestly, just a little bit of advice going into the playoffs, just some things that you should do. If you can make a late ad maybe on Sunday morning, that'll help you. That sleeper app will help you. So that's what we would suggest.
Yes.
Amongst those suggestions, we have a few more, but we'll get to those after a quick break.
Hey, watch your mouth. Why? I'll just put a quarter in the swear jar. Once it's filled, we get a Coors party after work. I've been drinking Coors since my college days. The cold draft taste, the second. Yeah, worth the recorder, am I right? You know it, mother.
Hey, you get those reports done?
Yeah. No. You, sir. Attention, employees.
The staff meeting, scheduled for this evening, will now be held tomorrow early as
Who's all? Dudes, we're only 75 cents short. Oh, shh. The boss. Hey, sir, go yourself. You're fired!
Hello, welcome back. DL, there were a ton of injuries and COVID-related issues yet again. Dr. DL,
Yes.
let us know about what happened this past
I
week.
wore my vest just because of that.
I like it. It's always cold in hospitals.
Yeah.
Anyway, so.
Yeah. Anyways, I just before we jump in, like that vid list, man, was crazy. Like the
ridiculous.
Detroit Lions, like half their team was like completely out.
Wild.
And it's like it's coming out of nowhere. Like all these teams are dealing with it. So that being said, I would definitely start thinking of backups. I mean, we talked about that last week. Those elite or those stud running backs, stud wide receivers, get their backups or their handcuffs or what have you, because especially with this whole vid list, you never know. They could be healthy and then bam, they're on the list.
So true.
But jumping into the injuries, a big one this week. Oh my gosh, Lamar Jackson.
Man.
Yeah, man. He suffered an ankle injury in the second quarter. He was wearing a low boot.
Okay.
Right? So that does rule out the high ankle injury that honestly could probably get him sidelined for multiple weeks, maybe in the whole year, depending. So they believe that he's dealing with a low lateral ankle sprain, RTB, for a grade 1 sprain, which is typically 1 to 3 weeks.
Okay.
So swelling and imagery results determine that his availability. I believe he has a chance to play week 15.
You're lucky.
But I'm not sure.
You have an ankle sprain expert on staff here.
Oh yeah, that's right. Here we go again.
I legitimately am the
I
ankle
play
sprain
basketball.
expert. I have sprained my right ankle probably 30 times. If my friends are watching, they know. They really know. I've had all different grades of sprains, So here's what I would tell you.
Okay.
He will not play this week.
I'm with you. I think he's got a shot.
Dude, they carted him off.
They did cart him off.
You're not going to play from a cart. Unless he's a speedy healer, and we've seen some crazy things in football. We've seen some crazy things, like Adrian Peterson coming back from a torn ACL and looking like a way better version of himself. Some just crazy freaking things.
Or even a shoulder injury with Dalvin Cook.
Yeah.
Phew.
But it's not going to happen. I would say that he's out at least this week.
Pivot. Speaking of pivoting, we have Taylor Heineke.
Part of the Taylor Heineke fan club here.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, like we've been saying it all week, but tough tinsel, man. He suffered a knee injury in the fourth quarter and did not return. It didn't look serious, but they're getting back the MRI to confirm. I think he's going to play because they're going to put in Fitzmagic?
No, I think I don't know what they're going to do there.
Yeah, I think you're good. I mean, he's been on the waiver wire for the last 3-4 months. So I don't think this affects too many people.
Yeah,
but if
not a lot
you
of people
were
have been picking him up, so.
if you were tuning in,
But
then,
it will
yeah.
affect guys like Terry McLaurin, stuff like that. So.
Speaking of Terry McLaurin, he came down hard on his head and shoulder trying to catch a deep ball in the third quarter. He was ruled out with a concussion. McLaurin will enter the 5-step concussion protocol and will need to be monitored. So we've seen this before. This is kind of a toss-up. Some rebound real quick, and some are out for at least a couple weeks. So that sucks, man.
I'll take this next one. Rex Burkha, who we hate having to recommend. But he did suffer a groin injury in the third quarter, and people are not too optimistic he's going to play this week. So making it a little easier to be able to, start a different running back there. Honestly, I wouldn't start anyone.
Yeah, I would stay away from the back. Yeah,
but
no.
at least you know that you won't have to stream Rex Burkha.
Yeah, at least you're not Rex or David Johnson.
Yeah.
Rex or David Johnson.
Exactly.
All right. DJ Moore, this is a big blow. Wide receiver, suffered a knee injury in the second half. He's going to miss some time He wanted to actually come back into that game later on, but I just don't think he's going to start week 15. Just don't, which sucks because if you made it in, you're like, yes, and then you don't want to be the one and done. But hey, man, that's the way it happens.
Yeah. Next one, Austin Eckler. I didn't even know he got hurt. What happened?
Basically in the third quarter, he actually messed up his ankle a little bit. Looking at the replay, this is a classic high ankle sprain, but it sounds like he got lucky and avoided injury. Coach Staley said Eckler would be fine moving forward. It's hard to tell if this is just coach speak, but his practice activity will definitely tell that story. So hopefully it's not grade 1 high ankle sprain, but it really depends on if he practiced or not.
Yep. Another one that was an interesting injury. Josh Allen was spotted wearing a high boot. One of those big ones that you see some girls wearing in the mall while they're walking around with their pumpkin spice lattes and stuff. Yeah, and the vest, and the furry.
Scarf,
you know that one.
Yeah.
Well, high ankle boot. So anyway, the boots can be used out of precaution. There's a plethora of different injuries that the boots would be used for. He could be dealing with, turf toe. He could be dealing with a sprain. All kinds of different injuries. Or maybe like what is it that Aaron Rodgers has? Some kind of broken toe.
Broken toe, yeah. Which he had a setback. He did.
Yeah, he did have a setback. Just monitor the situation. I don't see a reason why he wouldn't play. That's freaking Josh Allen. He's a monster, and just don't expect.
Yeah, I mean, he's not going to pick up those rushing yards, but
it's true.
He's got a cannon.
He's got the cannon. The next one does affect me in quite a few leagues. Jalen Hurts. He's questionable to return with an ankle injury that he suffered in Week 13. It looks like he's set to go. They're saying he's set to go, but you never know with the Eagles. They're always, have something up their sleeve.
Fly, Eagles, fly.
Yep. And then the one last injury, Deandre Swift is still battling that shoulder injury. We don't believe he will return this week.
Yeah, I'm just seeing if there's anything that came across. They're hopeful.
Yep.
So
yeah,
there you go.
Doubt that he plays still. So we kind of see what happens.
Exactly.
If you're suffering these different injuries, though, you have players like this across all your teams, we're going to recommend who you should add on the waiver wire to help.
That's why you're probably tuning in.
That's exactly why. So we're going to let you know who to add for Waiver Wire Wednesday. As a reminder, the players that we recommend are less than 50% rostered in Yahoo Fantasy Leagues. DL, who's the first guy that you would add?
I'm ready to ride this wave with Rashad Penny, 23% roster. We actually talked about earlier with him having a day. I think he continues. However, I would add him and then stash him for this week because I don't think he's going to have as successful week this week, but definitely somebody that I want on my bench for sure.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting week. Again, he does play against the Rams. Yeah. Really stout defense in general. Wouldn't surprise me if he goes for 8 to 10 points. Maybe 60 yards and a touchdown. Or
that's not going to help you win your playoff.
It's not. But if you're hurting, at running back, say you had a Deandre Swift and you're kind of scrambling, and Rashad Penny's out there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Plug him in. See
See
what happens. The next guy we recommend starting would be Jordan Howard. So go ahead and grab him and throw him in the lineup. What's going on with Miles Sanders and his ankle? We're not really sure. Plus, honestly, the Eagles kind of just run anybody back there, and for whatever reason, they love Jordan Howard. As Bears fans, we kind of get it. He's a pretty decent running back.
He can definitely move that rock. Yeah, for sure.
Yep. So Nick Sirianni was hopeful that Jordan Howard would return from that knee injury this week. Just see what happens. If he does come back, I expect him to probably get, I would say, 30 to 40% of the carries and Miles Sanders to get the remainder.
Yeah, I
sprinkled
mean,
in with little Kenneth Gainwell.
what about Boston Scott? Is he still around?
I think he's the last guy in the totem pole that
Yeah,
touches.
which sucks, man, because I actually liked Boston Scott. He
Yeah,
wasn't
he's
so
a pretty
bad.
speedy little
Wasn't
guy.
So bad. All
Next
right.
guy's your guy.
Ah, yes. Thank God. Rashad Bateman. I'm shocked that he's only 36% rostered.
Yep.
I thought he'd be a little bit higher, but I get it. I mean, it's the Ravens. So the Ravens view Bateman as the prime piece in hope of improving their passing game this season. Obviously, Hollywood Brown or Marquise Brown is going to be their number one, but Bateman's going to pick up those, those little like pepper passes, I would say. So only thing to kind of be concerned about is Sammy Watkins, because that little turd comes from all over the place and takes it away. But I would definitely grab him. I've had him. I've started him a couple of weeks, and he at least puts up, like I would say, around average 14 points. Average.
Another wide receiver we recommend is Kendrick Bourne, a New England Patriots wide receiver. He's 31% rostered. It's a wild week of fantasy football. You're going to see a lot of crazy players get dropped because teams are going to be streaming.
Yeah.
You know, if a guy's questionable, you're going to see some stars get dropped. And if you need a guy to step in, Kendrick Bourne's a fantastic option. Just a guy that's going to get the targets. Probably the best wide receiver they have on the entire roster. It's going to be interesting to see what he does. I probably would still prefer KJ Osborne just because, the Vikings still throw a little bit more. But Kendrick Bourne is out there.
Did he play with Mac Jones?
Yeah, he's played. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
No, I mean like in college.
Oh, that I'm not sure.
Okay, cool.
Kendrick Bourne did not play with Mac Jones in college.
Okay.
Kendrick Bourne was far and a long ways a couple years into the league before Mac actually was close to coming in. So not even close. But that's okay, Dustin. You know what? To ask questions is to learn, and you're learning,
Exactly.
and that's important.
And obviously, New England, for me in fantasy, don't go hand in hand. I'm never so confident with, at least in fantasy reasons or purposes, I'm never too excited to start any of the Patriots unless it's like
only
for
the
sure.
defense.
Yeah.
That's really usually what it is. It's
Yeah, the
just
defense is
usually
so
the
good.
defense that buys it for people.
So good. But
For sure.
I wouldn't be, too opposed to picking him up and starting him if you're really in a pickle.
Yeah.
Next guy, a guy that I've been on and I've been talking about, and he played well last week. KJ
Did.
Osborne.
Yeah.
He's 38% rostered. Yeah, let us know a little bit about KJ Osborne and why you'd add him.
I mean, basically, as I kind of said earlier, he's in that circle of trust, right? Like Kirk Cousins trusts him. He throws him the deep pass. He caught a touchdown both in back-to-back games, including a 62-yarder, which I mentioned earlier, to score that touchdown that actually saved him last week. So Osborne has drawn 16 targets and played 89% of the team's offensive snaps over the past 2 weeks. Obviously, with Thien's sideline, with the high ankle strain, we don't know when he's actually going to be coming back. So, yeah, I think you can feel pretty secure with firing up Osborne, maybe in a flex little spot. Yeah.
Yep, do
That's
like
all I
him. He doesn't run routes nearly as well as Thielen, but he's got that deep ball speed, so kind of reminds me a little bit like a Bernard Berrien back in the day.
And they're actually going up against our favorite team in the whole world, the Chicago Bears.
And they're depleted at cornerback. Let's just say
it's
that. So.
Scott and safety. Fuck my life.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So they're gonna get killed. Another wide receiver that we'd recommend is Amon-Ra St. Brown of the Detroit Lions.
Yeah.
He's 12% rostered. It's gonna be interesting to see what the Lions do. They're kind of hit or miss a lot fantasy-wise. Hawkinson's been out with an injury. Somebody's got to get the volume. They don't really have a running game right now, running back. It's kind of a mess. The only thing they're going to really do is just throw the ball all day and kind of see what sticks. It would not surprise me if Amon-Ra St. Brown, plays well.
Or even Josh Reynolds.
Another good name. I like it.
Yeah, we decided to go with him as well. The rookie broke out and stole the show in week 13, but didn't forget target Reynolds. I don't know. I wrote that wrong. Anyways, he caught 4 passes. He caught 4 passes, 7 targets, 69 yards. So there you go. I mean, I wouldn't be too excited to start him, but hey, man, if someone's on the vid list or what have you, he might be a good backup.
Maybe. Super deep leagues. Josh Reynolds is a good name. I picked him up in like a 16-team league with stupid huge.
Did you start him, though?
Monsters. I did start him last week, yeah.
And how do you do?
Like 6 points. But it's better than nothing, honestly. We could have done way
Sometimes
worse.
that puts you over, especially like, let's say, it's 143.02 to 143.83, and maybe that 6 points can just get you a little bit
Talking about my
over, and
matchup,
then,
yeah.
you could just be talking about how you just
Could
schooled
happen.
everyone.
It
You
could
know, it's
happen.
weird.
Really specific there.
Yeah.
Justin, I gotta say.
Yeah.
It's really specific.
It's just with all my, knowledge and
Do I get any money for winning your league?
experience. Yeah, you get money.
For winning first place though?
Yeah, you get money.
How
Yeah,
much do I get?
you
For
get like
placing
$200.
For placing first? Not just winning it all. I mean placing first.
Yeah, $200 in the belt, bro.
No. I won the regular season. Do I get
Oh
the
no,
first?
no,
Okay.
we don't do that shit.
All right, cool, yeah.
No, that's stupid.
All right. Some
Dumb.
leagues do it. I don't know.
Some leagues do it, but it's kind of like it's like a participation trophy.
I don't think so. I
Oh,
think if you were the best all
did
year
it.
and then you lose in the playoffs, you should at least get your money back. That's
Nah.
the thing. I think you should do that.
No,
But
disagree.
I honestly, I don't
It's all
think
about
third
winning it
place
all.
should win any money, just so you guys know. All right, but continuing on. At tight end, who would you recommend to add? I don't feel too good with this name
Hey,
at
man,
all.
It's been a rough week.
Brevin Jordan. That sounds like a singer for Boys to Men or something.
Brevin
The
Jordan
Houston
show.
Texans. He's 0% rostered.
I wonder why.
He did get 7 targets,
Yes, he did.
26 receiving yards, and a
Mm-hmm.
touchdown. I have no confidence in him whatsoever. But he's an interesting name, if
Dude.
nothing else, because Davis Mills is going to throw the ball at him.
Exactly. And we've
Nothing
talked about
else.
this before. What do we say? We say backup and
Opportunities, yeah.
rookie QBs, man.
Tight end's their best friend.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, speaking of another best friend of a quarterback, Tyler Conklin of the Minnesota Vikings. We've been talking about him here and there.
Yeah.
He's 47% rostered. But again, with the Thielen absence, he's a guy that's going to get the volume that Thielen wasn't getting. And honestly, he's looked decent. Low-end tight end 1.
Seriously, watching the game on Thursday
Mm-hmm.
night when they kept throwing it to him, I'm like, oh my gosh, maybe that was the hot waiver, right? I honestly thought that. I was like, I don't really need a tight end because I have George Kittle, who's awesome. But yeah, I think
You're one of the lucky ones because there are not a lot of teams with good tight ends.
No. But yeah, I would snatch him, especially because if you don't have, like we've mentioned before, the top 5 tight ends,
Yep.
it's kind of like stream or go home, and they're going against the Bears.
Yep.
So I would grab him.
Finally, the last guy we would recommend is Gerald Everett,
Ugh.
the Houston Texans. Another Texan. Oh, actually, I don't believe he plays for the Texans. He actually plays for the Seahawks.
Yeah, we
Good
did
job.
that last week.
Nice
We
job.
did that last week.
31% roster. Just a guy.
Just
He's
a guy.
Just a guy.
Honestly, I
script.
don't even know why we list him. Because, what was it, 2 weeks ago, he had
You know who the
4
guy?
fumbles.
I don't know why we list the QB you're recommending. Let us know the QB you're recommending.
Hey, man, you know what?
I'd love to hear this one.
Honestly, I've been ripping on this guy all year. But I am going to recommend him just because, Lamar may not play, probably won't play.
Teddy
Josh
kinda
Allen is a
sucks,
maybe
yeah.
as well, too.
Taylor Heineke's
So
hurt.
if you're really hurting, Ben Roethlisberger.
Oh, Jesus. All right, that's all we'll say about him.
Yeah,
Maybe
he's only
stream him.
rostered at 22%.
Maybe.
So obviously this is his last year, honestly. But for the last 4 games, he's delivered 9 touchdowns. 9, JC, 9. Averaging 270 yards per game, right? He just finished with a 308 game and scored 3 TDs last Thursday. So,
There's a lot of guys I'd rather start over him, so
okay, well, hey, man, you're part of the
Pass
show.
on that.
Go ahead.
pass on
Who
that.
would you start over him?
Tua. Who is the next recommendation that we have? So Tua Tagovailoa, I would start this week, and again, he's in my top 10. He's at number 10 this week. I just think he's gonna have a big week.
Yeah, finally you came over to.
Dude, he's playing
you
the
saw
Jets.
the light.
It's a game
You
of
realized
matchups.
how smart,
It's a game of
how
matchups.
precise, how much experience I have in the fantasy world, and now you're with me. It will happen again, folks.
Well, we'll
it's
see.
gonna happen
We'll
again.
see. The last guy we recommend is Taylor Heineke, who is 34% rostered.
He went up.
Yeah, he
He
did
last
go up.
week was 31.
Coming
Now he's
off an injury,
34.
people have
At
picked
this
him up.
point, can't we just say who at this point?
Yeah.
I mean, do we really even have to say Heineke?
Yeah.
No, I like saying
Like, we
that.
should be sponsored by Taylor
We
Heineke
should.
and Heineken at this point.
We should.
We're gonna make
Seriously.
T-shirts. We're
should.
gonna make T-shirts.
Finally, moving over to defense. This is super important in the fantasy playoffs. What you
right,
do
yes.
with your defense could be the difference between winning and losing. DL, who would you recommend on the defense side?
Pretty simple, man. Miami Dolphins.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're definitely a top 10 defense.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, in fantasy, I mean, they're at 48% rostered, so it's going to be probably hard for anyone to really find them. But if you do find them, grab them, make them a top because, like we've mentioned before, sometimes defenses and kickers are the difference between you winning and losing for that week.
Yep.
So,
The next defense you'd recommend, DL?
the Denver Broncos.
I like it.
Yeah. So they did really well last week, obviously. I think this week they're going to continue. They're fighting with everything they have to get into the playoffs. I think they're still in the hunt. So there's a lot to play for there. So for sure.
Yep. And is there anybody else that you recommend in defense? I was thinking maybe the Bills would take on Carolina. They've kind of been a mess in Carolina. So I can see the Bills play really well. Pretty solid defense.
New England, obviously, but it all depends on what they're rostered at. I don't know if you'll have a shot at the Bills or New England, but if you do, there you go.
Let me go over my top 5 that I have currently in defense. So I have the Dolphins as my number 1 defense this week. The Bills is my number 2 defense. The Cardinals are my number 3. The Cowboys are my number 4. And the Buccaneers are my number 5. Just out of that, my special team that I would throw in there is the Patriots. They just always seem to get it done defensively. So let me go over those. Dolphins play against the Jets. The Bills play against Carolina. The Cardinals play against Detroit. The Cowboys play against the Giants. The Bucks against the New Orleans Saints, and then finally the Patriots against Indianapolis. So just a few defenses we throw out there that I think could be difference makers this week and put up a decent amount of points to help you win your week.
Yeah, I think those are all solid. I would recommend all those. So
Awesome.
We can put a ball on that.
The last recommendations we'll give this show is our studs and duds, and we'll give you those after these brief messages.
Throughout the 1960s, 70s, and 80s.
Welcome back. Dustin, it's been a great show. Eventful, to say the least. And a positive one because we're in the playoffs, baby. It's exciting.
We are.
It's exciting. But to stay in the playoffs and to win it all, you have to have some studs.
Yes, you do.
DL, who are your studs and duds this week?
All right, my stud for Week 15. It's going to be a shocker, I know. Odell Beckham.
What?
Yes, Odell Beckham. I said it.
That's
know
your
why
stud?
I said it? Yes, I said it. You know why he's a stud? Because the last 3 games, he's caught a touchdown, and that's what we're looking to do. He's going against Seattle, which I think he's going to be okay at, but I think he's on the cusp of actually having a 2-touchdown game.
Okay.
And I think it might be this week, just because he looks
Big call.
more. I know, right? Maybe not 2, at least 1 for sure. But it looks like he's getting more comfortable in the system with the Rams. It looks like they're going to him, and he's a smart player. Obviously he got a touchdown against Green Bay. He got a touchdown against Jacksonville. He got a touchdown against Arizona. So I feel like he's going to projectively move forward on that, and he's going to be a stud this week and help you win that first round in your playoffs. My dud of the week, which is kind of crazy, Cam Newton.
That's totally fine.
right?
I'm with you there.
He had a clunker.
You totally went off script here.
What are you talking about?
I have completely different studs and duds for you.
Okay, well.
All right, well, that's cool. Cam Newton, why?
Well, yeah, thanks for interrupting me, jerk. So Cam Newton, it's pretty obvious at this point. He was benched the week before the bye. Then he comes back, and he gets benched again. So I think he
doesn't know the playbook.
He doesn't know the play, which is weird because he played for Carolina.
Yeah, just a different coach. Obviously, he didn't play. Under Matt Rule, they didn't think he was going to be the guy. So here he comes back under a different coaching staff, new terminology, and it's hard to just get thrown into the fire. I don't care how much of a vet quarterback you are. to be just thrown into the fire like that and told to start a week after you get signed is a lot. It's a lot.
It is, but I mean, yeah, I just going to go up against Buffalo. I don't think he's gonna have this phenomenal game. Looks like he's been kind of struggling here and there. So yeah, week 14. I don't think he's gonna.
I like those. Those are pretty good.
Yeah, thank you.
I don't know if I'm super, picking on OBJ as my stud, but I get it. You're an OBJ guy all the way, and you got to stick with your guys. So I like it.
But that's the whole point. It's my studs,
I like
my
it.
duds.
I like
so
it. Well, hopefully
speaking of
it
which,
works for you.
Who do you got? What are you thinking?
My stud this week has been my boy that I've had on my teams forever. Love him, Joe Mixon. Now, unfortunately, he does take on a tough opponent in the Denver Broncos. Really good defense. But I think Joe Mixon is going to be an absolute stud.
Really?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, that's what I got. And he's been a top 10 running back this year. So fighting some injuries, I just think, that's where he's going to be. Now, my dud this week is a guy that we recommended adding. Now, I don't think he's going to be as good as he was this past week. He scored 30 points. My dud this week is Rashad Penny.
Shocker. I mean, you get excited about a guy, but then you crap all over him by the end.
But let's kind of, talk this through. Yeah. So right. Rashad Penny is going to take on the LA Rams. And if you think he's going to go for 30 points again, you're sadly mistaken. Now, obviously, if you need a running back, and let's say that you missed out on, Deandre Swift because he's hurt, or you have, running back like, I don't know, Chase Edmonds, guys like that, and you're, hoping for those guys to come back, and they're not. A guy like Rashad Penny will still give you, 7, 8, 9 points this week.
Yeah,
but I don't expect
win,
much more than that. Yeah, I don't think he's going to have a huge week.
Unless you have a stack roster, right?
Where it could happen.
You got everybody under like a Cooper Kupp, George Kittle, Jonathan Taylor. If I'm seeing your lineup, then absolutely, I think you should throw him into a flex and see what happens. But
real quick,
I like it.
Andrew, do you have any studs, anything you feel strong about this week?
I will say, I think a stud for me would have to be probably, I'm going to go with Deonta Foreman.
Okay.
After what he did last week, I think he's kind of he's more veteran, a lot better, stronger runner than Hillard. I like Hillard, but I think they're more with Foreman because they can run him up the middle, and that's kind of what their offense is.
Yep.
So I would kind of lean more towards him being a stud. As far as a dud, I'm going to go with maybe Bears defense.
Okay.
I'm going to say Bears defense. I think, listen, I hate Kirk Cousins. Well, not hate. I loathe Kirk Cousins. I love Justin Jefferson, but I think they're going to cook on him. I think Cook is also going to cook on the Bears too. So I think the Bears are going to, I think it's going to be like a 31-plus point kind of game for the Vikings, unfortunately. I hate saying that because it's Monday night, and that's usually when Kurt fails, but Dalvin looks good. So I'm gonna say stud is Foreman, and my dud's gonna be the Bears defense.
I like them both.
That
both
hurts.
Strong.
That hurts.
Does that hold? Because I know Kirk Cousins on primetime game usually
kills.
Yeah, he's not good. But he was good last Thursday night.
He's going to murder the Bears. Their defense is depleted.
And
it's
what
bad.
are they playing for?
They're not playing for anything.
Yeah, and
they don't have a first-round pick.
If I was on it,
if I
was on that defense, I mean, I'm still gonna play, but I'm not gonna injure my body to save something or other.
Well, you'll see how much the team wants to play for their coach with the way they tackle. It'll tell you a lot.
Yeah.
Well, that's it for today's show. Well, we're excited for our show on Friday, which should be an awesome start-sit show.
Yes, it will.
Yeah, we can't wait to let you know who to start-sit this week. We will be prompt at 3 o'clock on Friday.
Are you sure?
I'm positive.
All right.
If you don't, I mean, we'll know exactly what he's going to be doing. For those who can see on the screen right in front of you right now between these two, this is JC taking a little snapshot with, I think, his favorite guy, Pat McAfee, potentially.
That's right.
Is that
you
right?
submitted my Pat McAfee picture. Nice. Nice. Well, I sent it over.
Yeah, look at that
To
smile.
What a happy man right there.
Yeah, you talk about studs and duds here.
Repping our school.
That's a stud right there, I got to tell you. That's a winner.
You're doing some snake stuff behind my back.
No, man. I mean, I just like the picture. I knew you wouldn't be like,
interesting.
It looks nice.
I mean, I'm a good sport nonetheless.
Yeah, it looks great.
I can dish it just as much as I can take it, and I can't wait for you to take this L in the playoffs when I play you. Just wait.
Okay.
Just wait. It's a good picture. It's a good picture.
I like it. I think it's nice. It's nice. It's like one of those pictures that your grandma puts up, like on the fridge, and you're like, oh, who's this guy? And it's like, oh, that's my grandson, JC. He was so excited that his friend Pat got, noticed.
Again, shout out to Pat McAfee and their $120 million that they're getting from FanDuel.
Yeah.
that'll be it for today's show, guys. It's been a great show. Thank you for tuning in. As always, we want to remind you that if you have any questions for us during the week, at midnight, 2 a.m., 5 p.m.,
call
doesn't
JC.
matter,
Call
whenever, you can send us those questions on Twitter at the handle at wow, PL, I can't believe you, at TweetFFG. And if you have any questions, remember to use the hashtag
AskUsFFG.
If you have any email questions, we can always answer those as well by sending those email questions to
AskUsFFG@gmail.com.
And if you do want to give me a call, leave me a voicemail. So
at 2 in the morning.
Get that? Yeah, 2 in the morning. That's fine. Where can you send that voicemail?
Easy. Area code 708-655-4508.
I'm going to be so screwed when these videos are up for 10 years and people are
Yeah, they're just
watching
hitting you
them
up.
finally, and
Yeah.
It's going to be ridiculous. We're going to use your number for one of these.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah. Well, that's it for today's show. I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll catch you on Friday
Yes,
for
we
our
will.
Start Sit. For DL and Andrew in the studio, my name is JC, and we'll catch you next week.
Signing off.